Hey, this is Richie Marrufo from the Barbed Wire Open Mic Series, aka BWOMs, and you're listening to the El Paso Creators Podcast Show. If you haven't already, make sure to follow them on Instagram, YouTube, and other social media. Without further ado, here's the show. Check it.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Michael Kelley, and today I'm going to be talking about social media and barbering.
Hello. I am back, guys. My name is Jubal Amador, and I am your host today for the El Paso Creative Podcast Show. So welcome. Tell me, what do you do and just who you are?
Who am I? What do? I do a lot of stuff. No, I'm a barber primarily. Cut a lot of hair. It's 18 years of cutting, and big on social media, specifically Instagram. I love Instagram. Been doing it for years, and yeah, just generated a cool little career out of it, really.
I love that you love Instagram, because for me, I'm huge on Instagramming. I think it's a really good social media like app that really allows people to not only see your work, but allows people to actually do a business and grow from there.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Well, especially with all the features they've added, like the shopping and all that. I think it's really cool. Which I still haven't taken advantage of, but I do.
Same.
I do want to, yeah.
So how have you really grown your social media presence?
Yeah,
like,
that's the question, right?
That.
Everybody's like, how'd you grow, your social... Well, before all the algorithm changes, years before, it really was just like raw attention. So if you created something that was very impressive to the eye, mostly pictures back then, right? So a lot of my photography of my haircuts really stood out. And I think I had mentioned it earlier.
Did you use your phone or a camera?
You know what? When I first started, it was phone. But when I really took to the next level was when I would use like a 50 millimeter lens, something that felt more portraitish.
Yes.
As I say, nifty 50, right, in the photography world. Well, that really came across really, really well. And so I think that's what launched it, because people could say, oh, that's MRK, the barber's haircut. I could tell by just looking at it, because it started gaining trending and traction. So trending helps.
No, it does. And I feel like as long as you have like high quality images, it already makes you stand out for everyone else that's just using like their phones, 100%.
100%. I think the other thing too is that I got a little lucky with the time era. I caught Instagram right before all the changes, and I wasn't a first generation Instagrammer like a lot of barbers were, but I caught it maybe a year or two after the wave, and I just really busted my ass like it was a job. I remember back then you could post 2-3 times a day and everyone would still see your stuff, and it would be super valuable.
It's so different. Like,
they hide you now. Yeah,
they do. And it sucks, because I have like 8,000 followers, and like I get around like the most I've gotten on a picture is like 1,000 likes.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, but that's the most. I think the smallest I've gotten is 200. So I'm like, how?
But you know what though? That's good retention. Also, I was going to ask you, with the reels, now that reels are a big thing, do you find it's hard to create content using reels over still images, where, if you were focusing on more photography, those are still images, whereas now they want you to do something in reels, show more action, more video? I feel like it's challenging sometimes when you've been stuck like in mode.
I think it is challenging, but you know what? I feel like it really, really pushes other creatives to like actually go out. Like, I'm a filmmaker and a writer, so I'm like, ooh, reels. I can tell people my poetry. I can not only show my face, but show my voice. And I feel like that really makes people, like influencers, stand out. Because of course people want to see like your face and who you are, but they want to hear you. They want to
hear your story.
Yeah, they want to hear you, because I feel like people want to be able to see your personality. And sometimes that gets lost in translation when it comes to pictures. Because I've had a lot of people like in my pictures, I'm all like, yay, look at me. Yeah. And they go up to me like, damn, you're so confident. Like, in reality, like, no, I'm an introvert. I'm a little antisocial sometimes, but people don't know that because they just see my pictures,
Well, that's also the big issue with social media, is people really hate the fact that it can be viewed as fake. I personally, my take on it is, it's like, I'm trying to think of like an analogy, is like, when you go to the supermarket and you're trying to stay lean and get in shape, you don't get pissed off at the ice cream or the Snickers bars, because, that's always going to be there. And Instagram is going to have really fake or really small percentage moments that, like if I jumped in a Ferrari, took a photo of it, everyone's going to assume I bought it. It's not true.
Exactly.
My buddy owns a Ferrari and maybe I'm inside of it. So people have to understand, like, there's going to be ice cream and Snickers bars everywhere. But the reality is like most of it's kind of boring. Lettuce, tomatoes, and carrots, and healthy food. You know?
And I feel like reels makes you like they make the person look more real, you know, because now you can be like, look, this is my house. Like, the outside can be beautiful, but like, look, maybe on the inside I have like a weird 80s vibe, and maybe like my followers never knew that, you know? Or
but you know what sucks about that? And you're so right. And that is who I am too. Like I show people a little bit of my family, a little bit of my life, because I want them to know that I'm authentic and I'm transparent, which I think is lost in social media generation. Like there's a high percentage of fakery that's going on, but at the same time, like you said, there is a great opportunity to shine like and show a little bit more of the truth. Like, hey, you know what? This is, you know, my real car, or hey, this is what I cook for dinner. I eat just like you, or
and you cut hair. So I feel like now, like you could show it like the whole process of it. Like maybe people see it and they're like, oh, it's easy, but you're like, no, like look of like my tutorial. Like it's a process, you know?
Absolutely. And I think also sharing your feelings is something that is, it shows a little vulnerability. And when you show a little vulnerability to your audience, I think that's how you lock in followers that become more than followers.
Yeah, because they feel like they know you.
Yeah, they're rooting you on now. They're cheering you on because they feel like, oh, they've been vulnerable and they've let me in on this part of their lives that is like true and honest and real. And I feel like, you know, I don't see enough of it, and it irritates me a little bit, to be honest. And a lot of times I have issues becoming friends with people inside my industry for the same reason, because there's a non-vulnerable
There's
piece.
like a standard.
Yeah, everyone like holds back a little bit. But I believe if you want to do something bigger and better, you have to be a little bit more vulnerable. You have to, because there's a risk involved in putting yourself out there authentically.
There's always a risk.
Always.
Yeah.
And only you as the artist, or you as the Instagram or social media person, can assess how far your boundaries are there. You have to decide how much you want to show, how much you don't, you know? So.
Especially when it comes to like what your brand is, you know, like for example, I always, like I do photography and I do writing and I do art. So like, I always try to clear away from stuff that won't represent my brand, you know?
Yeah.
So you always have to be careful with like those certain topics, you know?
Do you think people understand what like your brand really means? Because like, there's a lot of people who don't have a lot of followers or have never experienced a lot of attention. And when you say stuff like my brand, do you think, because I feel like they don't, I don't know. I feel like people, what do you do? Like in your experience with other people who are not huge on Instagram, but maybe they have an Instagram, do you think they don't get it?
That's a really good question. I feel like,
because I feel like there's some mystery.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes like when I do meet people that don't have Instagram, it's like, oh my God, like, you've been hiding under a rock.
Yeah.
Because like for me, like I only use Instagram, and I feel like it's kind of bad on my part, because what if one day Instagram decides to like close my account for no reason, you know?
Get too meta? No, I'm just kidding.
You never know. So yeah. I feel like that would really hurt like my photography business, my my content creating, because I make money on Instagram, like doing reels. So it's like, oh no, I'd lose a lot.
Yeah, dude, I would lose my sponsorships because I have to have followers to get sponsorships. So I have these awesome deals. Like I said earlier before the show, like I'm very grateful. Yeah. I'm very grateful for sponsorships with really awesome brands. By the way, Art of Shaving is my #1 sponsor right now, and I absolutely love working with them. And for any of you listening that have beards or facial hair, check them out. They didn't pay me to say that, but I really do like them. They're amazing. But yeah, like that's the thing is, if it went to shit, then I wouldn't have any sponsorships anymore.
You don't have YouTube, TikTok?
I do.
Yeah, you have a YouTube channel.
But I don't go big on it. I don't go hard on it. My YouTube, it's crazy. I'm like a YouTube natural, but I don't know
what I'm doing. You think it's because it takes longer? It's like a longer process.
Yeah, it's a longer investment for a longer out like payout. I have a Patreon, which is like a paid social media platform, which you may want to look into being a artist as yourself. You probably get a lot of support there.
We'll talk after the podcast.
Yeah, I asked $5 a month and people are paying it. That's reoccurring payments every month. And YouTube, they want you to get so many views before they pay you out. So it's kind of like working either rent or commission. Like, yeah, I'd rather get guaranteed money in some platforms than to like, hopefully YouTube catches on. And all I do is like funnel the people from Instagram to my Patreon. So it's just pretty simple to.
And that's what I like about Instagram, that now you can like share YouTube links and you can share like all sort of websites, and it makes it easier so people can be like, here, let me show you to another platform.
Yep. Yeah, it's becoming all one space now. It's cool that I think eventually, I personally, I don't think we're all going to have separate apps anymore for social. I think social is going to become one huge, like, multiverse or whatever you want to call it, like where it flows even faster. Whereas you don't have to close Instagram, then open Twitter, then close your Twitter and open. I think it's just going to flow together even faster than it is now. So that's what I think. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I feel like it's going to happen. That's why I'm not really worried about like Instagram going to shit or closing.
What about when Instagram went down?
Oh, that was awesome. That was the best time of my life. Oh God,
really?
did I love
Why?
that.
Tell me.
Man, it was like 24 hours and everybody was tripping shit. And
I was tripping.
Everyone, and I just said, you know what? This is great. Now we're on a level playing field because I do, going back to being authentic and real, sometimes I do wish like the fluff and
you could take a break.
And the frosting and all that bullshit could just go away and see where everyone lands, because I feel like that's really longevity. So like, I'm not worried about it because I've been doing this 18 years. I know my career like the back of my hand, and like, I'm so confident what I do that I don't feel like I would fail no matter where or when or what I do. So it's like, I kind of would be curious to see where everyone would land without the attention. You know, because I grew up in a generation.
And I like that. But I feel like, for example, you're right. Like there's some people that have Instagram just for the intention of it. But like, for example, you and me, like we do it for like the business side of it, you know, like for us, it's like, oh, this is our job, you know?
I also feel like I'm robbing people if I don't show them what I'm doing. I feel like it's a kind of a human thing. Like, you know, a great barber who now is P. Diddy's barber, actually, Marcus Hatch, who's originally from El Paso. He had told me really quickly one day, he said, "No, you have to put yourself out there. You're doing everyone a disservice by not putting yourself out there." Something along those lines. And it stuck with me because he's one of the best barbers I know on the planet. And I thought about it, I said, yeah, man, it's pretty selfish if I just, you know, keep it to myself.
And I agree with that. I feel like, for example, going back to art, I always tell this to artists, like, why aren't you putting your stuff online? Why are you hiding your art? Like, this is beautiful. People need to see it. Like, you're doing, you will do the world a favor if people see your art, because you never know who will get inspired.
Yeah, well, imagine if none of the movies came out that you absolutely love, that taught you cool life lessons or like things that really rattled your brain, made you think. Without those, then who would you be? You know, so I think you have to have that stuff. You have to have inspiration, and you know, I think to myself, the influencers that I like, without them, who would I be?
Probably not who I'd be. Influencers that inspire you.
Okay, so there's a hairstylist named Andrew Does Hair. He's not really a barber, but he can do pretty much anything with hair. It doesn't matter, guys. When God made him, he just said, well, you can do anything. So he's my favorite influencer because not only is he great and amazing at hair, but he's gifted at creating great YouTube and Instagram content and explaining and articulating his thought process through hair. And to me, hair theory and like explaining the principles of hair is bigger to me than actually the technicalities of cutting hair, because it translates through life. And I'm a big thinker. I don't like to think overly detailed when I teach or when I educate, because what can we take from over detail, you know? But if we're speaking to everyone, someone's going to understand a bigger picture idea. And so Andrew's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, there's tons. I love fitness too. So I'm into like, you know, bodybuilders, Brett Contreras, who invented the hip thrust, he's an amazing, intelligent guy who just literally invented a game-changing lift that changed the world. Stuff like that. Like, and they're just nerds about their shit, but they're also very articulate and very smart.
And they're good at marketing.
Yeah. And maybe they don't have the millions of followers, but they have like something about them that is raw, real, vulnerable. Going back to what we said earlier, things that I like.
But you don't need 1 million followers. If you have, like, for example, 1,000 followers, and those 1,000 people buy your product, you already have more than $1,000.
Well, it's kind of like even if like 20% of them were into your shit and like buying into it, that's an awesome percentage. You know, that's just, I don't think people think that way. You know, from the outside looking in, maybe they think like, oh, well, 1,000 is not a lot. I can't really do a lot with that. But 1,000's not bad when you can directly message each and every one of. I can't direct message 106,000 people. There's no way. Like, I can't do it unless they're all like watching my feed every single moment. But to maximize it, I can't. I would have to create promotions. So in a way, when you have a smaller following, you can actually take care of them with a higher quality, which I think is cool. It's something that I can't really do as much anymore. But when I have an opportunity to do it, I love it. And when someone direct messages me a question, especially if it's a good question, not like a jackass question, which there are.
And what's a good question?
Just like, hey, for instance, this is getting kind of nerdy, right? But how do you create a ridge on the side of the head? How do you leave a weight on the side of a men's haircut? Things like that, something detailed. Or, hey, man, what do you think about these hairstyles for men or this trend? I like it because, I can give them a meaningful answer other than just like I said, a broad statement to 106,000 people. Like it means more to them too. Like they literally become a fan of mine forever because I took the time and answered. And it's humbling to hear someone say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you messaged me back." And I'm like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I'm here to help you. Why would I not message you back? But of course, if you come at me with some jackass question, I'm going to delete it.
No, yeah.
Swipe left, because like some people are just attention hogs and they just want to rile you up. Has anyone talked shit to you on your Instagram?
Oh yeah.
Like your art sucks.
Plenty of times. No, I had someone actually follow me on Instagram, go to my art show, and I had a photography on display. And in my picture, I wrote the word art on it, and then I took a picture of it and I had it on display. And then the person looked at it and said, "It's not art because it's what did they say? It's not art if you have to write it in. If you have to write the word art in it."
Oh, okay.
And I overheard that, and I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "You've been following me for a while, like, So I've had people like in real life.
I didn't know he made the rules. That's cool. He made the rules to art. I didn't know that.
Right? Yeah,
next time I ever do anything, I'll make sure I don't spell that out for anyone.
But I mean,
he got very offended that you had to tell him it was art, I think.
I've also had some people be like, how do you travel? Do you, like your parents must give you all the money. And I'm like, oh wow. I'm like I work.
It's called to get paid.
Yeah, like I work.
It's called the job.
Yeah.
Other people travel for their jobs too, like consultants and, other people like that and engineers, they travel too. Like,
yeah. And I feel people
no one's asking them how they travel, right?
Right. And I feel like, I don't know, like people, sometimes they see art as like a joke, and it's really sad. It's really sad because I work my ass off like every day marketing myself with my photography, with my writing, and I'm like, I'm actually doing really good. So it's like it really hurts when people.
Be honest though, are there times where you get someone who's hating on your art, and every so often maybe you're like, "Fuck that guy," fuck that. You try to pretend like you're bigger than it, but it just zings you a certain way, and you're just like, and it's that negativity that you feel directed towards you that's just like so frustrating that. Because I get like that. Not with most of the shit talking, I'm like, it's a private profile. They have nothing to back it up. So I'm just like, nah, most of the time. Every so often I get an ignorant ass comment and I'm just like, I have to swallow it and take a beat. Are you like that too? Or?
Yes and no. I feel like I used to be a lot. And like now I'm surrounded by so many people that support me, and they've been helping me. And like right now my crowd is just people that are really growing, because I used to hang out with people that were small-minded and they just didn't want to grow. And that, I mean, and
are you talking about El Paso people right now? I'm just kidding.
Well, I've lived in El Paso my whole life, so yes, the answer is yes. No, but I feel like those crowds, you'll find them everywhere. Like,
yeah, they are everywhere.
Everywhere. There's always going to be people that are small-minded, that they don't want to grow. Yeah, mm-hmm. And sometimes you suck that negative energy, and it's not until you leave that you're like, oh shit, like I'm gonna go for it,
If the people that were making hateful comments really, and I know they just do it to make themselves feel better, I know that, I learned that lesson when I was a kid, but if they knew how much it wore on us though, like if they understood how like annoying and ugly it feels, knowing you poured your heart and soul into something and people just want to go shit on it, I think if they really knew how we actually did feel, then maybe they wouldn't be as bad, because it's like, the first couple comments is whatever, but as it grows, it's kind of like, damn, like you almost feel this negative energy that people want you to fail. Like there's this weird, and sometimes it's the closest people to you, not even on social media. It could be like your friends that low key don't want you to win. And that has happened to me many times.
But I feel like that goes to show that you must be doing something right. If people are trying to bring you down, it's because you're up.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely, 100%. That's always how it is, right? Like that's the best sign. But nonetheless, we're still human beings. We're not machines. And I think that's the thing, is they see us as like successful people, so they're like, oh, we can just shit on the successful ones because it won't hurt them at all. whatever. And it's like, no, I'm a human too, bro. I have emotions and I feel shit. Like, I'm not just a content creating machine. I actually am regular. You know, I have bad days and good days too. And
I feel like maybe it's because people think they can hide behind social media.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, they're like,
I'm about to break those thumbs, bro.
It's like, like, will they be able to say it to my face? You know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, they won't. No, they won't.
No, they won't. That's why they're like, oh, social
They're the
media.
same ones that are giving you a hug and saying, hey, good to see you.
And you know what's funny? Because after that guy said that about my print, I went up to him and he hadn't known that I heard him say that. And I said, what do you think about it? He gave me like this, oh, I think it's amazing. I'm like, really? Like, go into detail. Like, and then I kind of hinted that I heard it. Oh, he was sweating. He was like, like trying to like leave. Yeah, like, because they won't say it to your face, you know?
No, of course not. No. That's crazy. So what's the most wild thing Instagram has done for you that you did not expect it to do for you?
I feel like it's meeting amazing people. Like, I've met talented photographers because I started modeling in high school and I just started posting, you know, like pictures of me with like, I used to work with boutiques or like local clothing brands. And next, you know, I would get like really amazing photographers that had like 10,000 followers and they'd be like, and at that time I only had like 1,000. They'd be like, hey, I saw this picture of you on this boutique's Instagram. I want to work with you. I want to collab with you. This is my project. And next thing you know, I ended up getting like in a local magazine publication. So I guess meeting people, like I've met, I don't know, just like a lot of other influencers. Like I'm Nicaraguense and I met Miss Nicaragua.
That's cool. Wow.
So like, yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
like, and it's funny because like after I met her, a lot of like the influencers from over there, that country started following me and they messaged me and
that's awesome.
I'm just like, oh wow. So I feel like Instagram has really helped me meet people and like has really encouraged me to
expand your network.
Yeah, expand myself more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the network is pretty awesome. It's unreal, man. Like,
what about you?
It's the same answer. Same answer. Even though I've been to cool places, there's nothing like the people you're with. So, you know, being able to travel the world and teach has been always a blessing. But I have friendships I'll probably have for the rest of my life from Ireland, Russia, these places that I've been. So it's unreal that we can connect. And then, for instance, Saturday is a prime example. My client came in and they wanted a haircut by a barber from Ireland who we both happen to follow. And I love the guy. I think he's great. Ryan Cullen, amazing barber. And sure enough, I said, well, I'm not Ryan Cullen, but I'm going to do my best. But it's cool. I did it, took the photo, made a little video, sent it to Ryan on Instagram. And over in Ireland, you know, Ryan's over, actually, he was doing an expo at the same time. And he's like, man, small world. Look how we can just connect so quickly. It's a blessing. And I'm like, yeah, man, all because of social. So
and it's crazy that like you got inspired by someone that's like across the world, you know, like
it's wild, dude. Yeah. And then learning their techniques because everyone cuts different. So you see styles from different places. And I'm sure with art, it's the same thing. You know, everybody has a different eye or a different, like the culture, for instance, over there, they rock a different hairstyle in general at a higher percentage than Americans. Americans are a way different style than the guys from the UK and Ireland. So you see their haircuts and I'm like, oh, that's a UK haircut. I can tell that guy before he even opens his mouth. I'm like, that's gotta be a guy from the UK. So it's cool to learn it and then bring it over with you to the United. It's like food, you know, like food culture is the same way.
Or fashion.
Yeah, and fashion, like we're all just mixing it up. And I think that's beautiful because eventually the world's going to be such a melting pot of different cultures and blends that I think it's just going to be like the dopest like environment.
And
like,
I love that. And I love how social media can really like bring people together and like inspire just people from around the world. Like you never know that like I could be posting like a picture of here in El Paso, but someone from like Europe or Africa or Asia could see it and be like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
this is amazing. Where is that?
This is El Paso,
I want to go here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is El Paso, Texas. Holy shit. And they're like, that's really nice. I think I was on the rooftop bar at the Mirador a couple weeks ago. My wife and I were out and we overlooked the city. You can almost see Juarez from there and stuff. And I had posted something and I think one of my friends from like Philadelphia was like, that's nice. Where is that? I'm like, it's El Paso. El Paso has really nice things. You know, like we're a beautiful place. And it's cool that, you know, and that's the other thing is too, is like, I really want my friends to understand El Paso's dope. Like it's a cool place.
Do you showcase El Paso on your social media, on Instagram?
Not a lot, but when people ask me where the best barbers in the world are, I tell them El Paso, Texas. Yeah. And I believe that. I've been all over the world. I know. But we have really great culture here at Barbers, and not just the barber culture, but the El Paso culture is dope.
Yeah.
I
feel like over here we're really nice.
Yeah, very polite, very nice people, and we can be too nice too quick. But once you understand that's the culture here, you're like family here. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. It's a very open, welcome city, and I think people like on social media may see it and think like, oh, that's near Juarez. That's some dangerous place. So it's not true. Like, it's great here. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of people have that misconception of El Paso. Like, for example, when I went to Paris, I just thought it was so funny because I turned on the TV in my hotel and they showed El Paso, and I went to Paris during the time that you know how they had the kids, like the immigrant kids that were crossing over, you know how so
that was a topic and
that was
issue
the
at the time.
topic.
Yeah.
So I turned it on and it said El Paso, and it showed like the kids behind these cages, and like the reporter looked really like concerned. And like you see the border and you just see desert, and I was like I just thought it was so ironic because I was like, wow, I just came from El Paso, I'm in Paris, and
I didn't see that shit.
And I was like, wow, like if I was a Parisian looking at that, I'd be like, I never want to go to El Paso. Just desert and kids in cages. Like,
okay, so short story. When I was young and I was watching all the Quentin Tarantino movies, Kill Bill Volume 1. Do you remember the El Paso scene?
I don't.
I'm sorry. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's all desert, and it's just a rundown church, and it says El Paso, Texas. That is the first time I ever heard of El Paso, Texas. I'm originally from New York, so I didn't know anything. So I think I was maybe like 15 when I saw this movie or something, and I'm like, what? That's El Paso? Who would want to live there, you know? When I turned 19, my dad's like, hey, guess what, guys? We're moving to El Paso. And I was like, no. So we moved. I made the move with him. Thank God I did. But anyway, long story short, a couple weeks ago, I had my buddy from Buffalo, New York, who's a really cool guy. And we get here, I fly him in, we're hanging out, we do this barber event, and afterwards he finally says, so like, is there a wall? And I was like, yeah, there's a wall. He's like, wait, so they wanted to build a wall, but there's a wall? I'm like, yeah, they just wanted to build more wall. Yeah. He was like, oh, I said, yeah, but do you want to see the wall? He was like, yeah. I was like, it's right over there. Yeah. He was like, oh shit. And I was like, go back to New York and tell your friends that there's somewhat of a wall still. So
but there was already,
there's not wall, you know?
And I think that's so funny because I remember, I think I was like in middle school, and I remember like they were already building the wall. So I just thought it was funny when I kept seeing on the news like, we want to build a wall. I'm like, there's already a wall.
And it's pretty fucking big. You see huge, it, and they'll still try to get over that shit, but still, it's pretty big thing. You can't miss it, you know. Like, it was just funny. I just laughed at him, and he's like, "Man, this place isn't what I thought it was." I'm like, I don't know what people thought it was, but I like it. Yeah. Like, it's cool.
And as a filmmaker, I always try to I want to showcase like the beauty that El Paso is. And it's so hard because Hollywood and like mainstream and like
paint it such a way
has painted it so like, don't go to El Paso or just go for a day and pass through, like, you know, and it's like, no, like El Paso's amazing.
I saw some like serial killer show that took place in El Paso on one of those streaming apps or whatever. And I remember they showed a couple central shots and they showed a couple of downtown shots, but not really the cool places, like, you know, and I'm like, they're not really showing El Paso properly, you know.
They're showing it from that filmmaker's point of view.
A very limited understanding of El Paso. So, but hey, that's why we have people like you to show it the right way.
Yeah,
so,
and likewise, yeah. So before we go, I want to ask you one question, and this is something that we always ask. What's something that you would have wished you've known when you first started that you know now?
I mean, I've been asked this question a lot. And I think
it's a very common question.
I think you're allowed to change it as you get older or whatever. But I just think it's not that I would want to know anything that I didn't know. I just would want more reiteration, and that would be to continue doing what I really, really thought was right and what I thought I liked the most. I think the biggest issue that most people have is they don't pursue what they really genuinely are passionate about or really, really like, because they're always, especially when they're younger, they're always trying to be cool.
Or they're afraid compared to their peers. Vulnerable.
Yeah, or they're afraid. Yeah, so I guess I would just encourage the old me, like, just keep going and do what you love. Keep your head down and just keep working, because had I done that earlier, you know, maybe I would be a little farther down the line or whatever. But at the end of the day, right, you live and you learn.
Yeah, and I really relate to that. I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school, and I felt like if I hadn't listened to those people around me, I would have been where I would have been here, but like a couple of years back.
Ahead.
Yeah.
You feel like you have one more step out. Yeah. Maybe that's true because I think sometimes we hear the clock ticking in our head, especially as we age. We get a little bit more sensitive to that clock, and we know life can be short. And when you're young, you don't understand the gravity of time yet. You don't understand that it passes with or without you. And when you're young, you think you're Superman. So, you just do whatever.
Exactly. So, what's something that you would give as an advice to people who want to get into influencing and they're like scared to do it?
Yeah. As far as insecurity goes, because you and I touched on that briefly before this too, is that I was scared to put my face in front of the camera and it felt so foreign and weird to me. I felt fake. I felt stupid. I felt weird, but I got such great feedback from it. And I started feeling that doing that actually helped people a lot. So I would say that practice,
practice putting your face out there.
Yeah, literally grab your phone, and I know it feels silly, and you'll get better at it.
Take a selfie, guys.
You're gonna have the worst angle at first, right? But you'll figure out your angles of your face, and you'll figure out how to feel presentable, and just practice, because that's all it is practice. Getting used to, again, being vulnerable and being okay with maybe not being someone's cup of tea. Maybe I put my face in front of the camera and there's a percentage of people out there like, that dude's ugly as fuck, and swipe left. That's going to happen, but who cares? Do it for the people that do care. Do it for the ones that...
And do it for your passion, like whatever your passion is,
Because it helps, it helps. They want to connect to you on a personal level to understand how you got to where you got. And without you, how are they going to learn? So, that's what you bring to the table. So I guess push through your insecurity or try. I know it sounds hard. It's very hard.
It is very hard.
But practice does help. Practice helps. It's like riding a bike, one pedal at a time. Over time, you get good. Yeah.
I love that. So before we go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Where can we follow you? Do you have a website, YouTube?
Yeah. Mainly it's Instagram, MRK the Barber on Instagram, Michael Kelley on YouTube, Michael Kelley on Facebook. I believe TikTok is MRK the Barber as well. Yeah. Enjoy my content. Ask me questions.
Yeah, ask him, guys.
I'll answer if it's, if I see it, I'll answer it. Yeah. That's how I do it. So.
Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you. This has been a lot of fun. This is cool. Yeah.
Same, likewise.
Good times.
Thank you guys for tuning in for the El Paso Creative Podcast Show. Until next time.